I made a video not too long ago about the sheer power of a unique frontman and how that can really shape the entire identity and how people resonate with a project and have such a strong association with it, and what makes these bands last the test of time. But it also got me thinking of where exactly is the line drawn of what is too much for a band to come back from? Is there such a thing as being too far gone? The easy objective answer to that is no. You can always continue a project. It's just a matter of if anyone's going to give nearly as much of a shit. I think a lot of bands, especially in like the metalcore and deathcore world, can take losing a vocalist, because most of the time, unless you're just really deep down the rabbit hole and you really do know a vocalist, chances are you don't have that strong of a connection to them because they don't really put themselves out there that much. You might heavily relate to the music itself, but you don't really know that much about the people themselves. But when you get some frontmen that are literally, like I said, the identity of a project, it can be a massive hit. And you can see this even when a band is able to maintain itself thereafter. You saw it happen with Lorna Shore. Will Ramos, he is fantastic, but CJ McCreery and Tom Barber, there were times when no one knew if Lorna Shore were going to be able to bounce back from that. And it is a miracle that they were able to get someone like CJ McCreery or like Will Ramos to come onto the block. Dance Gavin Dance has flirted with death time and time again. Johnny Craig and Kurt Travis were beloved in the band, and Tillian made some of the most iconic material with Dance Gavin Dance. So when all of this stuff has been happening with him, it's thrown up in the air what exactly is going to happen. And Scientology stuff aside and controversy aside, while Emily is doing a pretty good job of filling Chester's shoes, there always is going to be that void. When you have an artist like Chester that is as iconic and just generation defining as him, I don't think you could put any person in that role and then be able to live up to it, no matter how talented they are, no matter how personable they are, no matter how charismatic they are. And that's no diss to them. It's not something that is necessarily a negative or a knock against whoever would try to. And that also is not to say that there can't be a new era that is defined by the new person. That, in my opinion, is the healthiest way to go about losing a vocalist. The worst thing that you can do is say that you are replacing someone to try to fill the shoes of another vocalist. You are automatically setting yourself up for failure if you just try to get someone that is a carbon copy or try to live up to what made someone love a band in the first place. You are never going to be able to do that. That is just the objective reality of it. And the best you can hope for is going into a new era and turning a new page, making a new chapter with a new vocalist that can hopefully breathe new life into the band and keep them alive, to keep the memory of whatever vocalist was in the band prior alive. And there are, of course, going to be a lot of very entitled fans who just want that original vocalist chapter 2, but that's just an unrealistic thing to ask for. Killswitch Engage is a very good example of this, and probably one of the most unique examples of this, because Jesse was part of the band before Howard, but a lot of people, the vast majority of people that fell in love with Killswitch Engage, fell in love with the Howard era. And so when Howard left and Jesse came back into the band, there were a lot of people that said, this doesn't feel like Killswitch Engage. That's complex. That's some gray area. It was originally Jesse's band anyway. Howard just happened to come in, but he did a better job than Jesse. It wasn't just a presence thing where Howard was concerned. Howard is an awesome dude. Jesse's an awesome dude too. It was genuinely just the vocals and uniqueness of Howard. No one sounds like Howard. Jesse, while he is a very good metalcore vocalist, fits the bill for a lot of other classic melodic metalcore vocalists, and there isn't necessarily any special flair to how he puts himself out there, and so Howard Jones attracted people to the band because of how unique he was. And you can chalk this up to a lot of other things. The fact that he was African American, and that was something you didn't necessarily see in a lot of very mainstream metal bands at the time. You could chalk it up to how soulful he sounded, the fact that he had a kind of unorthodox singing style for metalcore at the time, the timing of melodic metalcore. You could say a whole host of things, and all of those things probably did play a role. And this goes back way back to the days of like Black Sabbath. You had someone like Ronnie James Dio step into the band. There are people that swear by Dio's era of Black Sabbath being being the best. I personally think that the Ozzy era is the classic, and it's my personal favorite of Black Sabbath. It has the best material in the discography, in my opinion. But notice how the eras that had no Ozzy in it were not trying to live up to Ozzy or be Ozzy. They had their own identity, and that's the most important thing. The only thing that I will say is you kind of have to have a vocalist match an energy at the very least. If you have someone that is very larger than life and attracts a lot of people to the band because they are very out there, you know, I'm talking Serge from System of a Down, Corey from Slipknot, a lot of black metal vocalists, just people that really do embody the band and their essence. If you try to follow that up with some dude in a tank top and cargo shorts that doesn't really have any defined personality and doesn't put himself out there that much, you're probably setting yourself up for some bad news. But ultimately, it is kind of a complex thing of where's the line of, like, you know, when can a band lose a vocalist and still keep going? Yeah, you always can, but what is that band going to be after is the more important question. And it's kind of just up to the band and how they approach it, if it's smart or not. Because I don't think the answer is just to kill off a band and let it die, but I also think that automatically just trying to live up to the past is also not good. I feel like Eddie tried to do that a lot in Suicide Silence after, you know, Mitch Lucker died, and I think that it had some very mixed results and still has some mixed results. He is very clearly trying to sound like Mitch on a lot of tracks and in his vocal timbre. And you can obviously have vocal influence, especially if you're the vocalist of the band that person used to be in, but I also think you should pave your own way. Because unfortunately or fortunately, you're just never going to be that original person that gave that band that spark in the first place. What are you guys' opinions of this topic? You can let me know down in the comment section below. I can't wait to hear it. Agree or disagree, there is no wrong answer. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.